All right, let's get a reading on the top macro and market themes we're watching this week. Peter McGuire joins us from XM. Peter, good to see you. So, yeah, look, there's a bit to talk about. Obviously, we've seen what's happened in New Zealand. As we mentioned, 2 weeks to go until the US election. So what are you looking for this week?
Well, Andrew, I think you've got to keep your eye on China.
Right.
Where it's going. Good morning, Ingrid. Where it runs from here, I mean, those numbers, you've every chance they could hit the ball out of the park. They've been very, very strong, and considering what they've achieved in the last 3 months, nothing short of astounding. So I think everyone's eyes on that, where the cheerleaders as far as the Aussie dollar goes, and what the RBA's forecast is as far as rate cut at the start of November. So I think the Aussie will come under a little bit of pressure maybe over the next couple of weeks, and all eyes on China for the next, say, 2 to 3 days.
So is that the big catalyst for us going forward? I mean, you look at all the macro risk that exists across the globe at the moment, but is China number one for us here at home at least?
I think so, Ingrid. I think our eyes certainly focused on that and on the election 2 weeks out. So there, I think, really gives us the themes running into that week of Melbourne Cup. So the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously bullish about China at the moment, but of course there is that ongoing uncertainty about that relationship between Australia and China.
Beijing,
yeah,
Canberra.
Just as far as certainly how it's affecting our exports. Obviously, we had the news of coal last week. So what concerns do you have?
Certainly, Andrew, I think, running forward, are they going to be fractured, and where does Morrison play? We've got there's so many geopolitical themes out there. We've got to get over the 3rd of November, see who's in power. If it's a Trump presidency, then I think it'll be game on as far as where he takes his actions towards COVID and China. And if Biden's in, well, he's been very close to China and the CCP for many, many years, so I don't think anything's going to be a one-way trip there. It'll be very much, try and put a deal together or rebuild talks.
So, I mean, just how significant is it, though, if we don't get a result straight away in the US election?
Oh, Ingrid, this is uncharted. We've never been down here. We've got 57,000 numbers as far as COVID yesterday in the States. Record numbers there, record across the world. I'm sure that Trump will play very hard over the next 2 weeks. And then if Amy Coney Barrett is on the Supreme Court, where do they go constitutionally? There are so many uncharted themes out there. It's just so hard to imagine.
All right, now, and further afield, well, obviously, still in the States, we've got that uncertainty too about stimulus. Looks unlikely before the election, at least.
At the moment, yes.
Europe, rising COVID cases, more shutdowns across the continent.
Absolutely.
And, of course, then you've got the uncertainty of Brexit at the same time.
Absolutely, and you look at those numbers coming out of France, 32,000 yesterday, harrowing. All across Europe is really going through some major problems, and then you're looking at where Brexit is and Boris. So the numbers out there as far as, PMIs into UK, PMIs into Europe, very, very dodgy numbers, and I think it's going to be a very hard winter for them. Where it runs, you could only say that you're seeing those numbers run forward. I'm not sure whether we go to, the real essence of what COVID is, because maybe it's been just a little bit of a play so far. If you're looking at those numbers built out of Italy and what we're experiencing across France and UK, this really is COVID, because we've never seen these numbers before. And how long is Australia locked down? The lens I look through, we're here for the next couple of years. How do we get anyone into Australia? You've got these numbers coming into, where are we in 2022, 2023?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be that long to run through.
Yeah, and it all depends on vaccines and whether vaccines are efficient,
absolutely.
whether they're actually taken up across the globe. I mean, there's a lot of questions,
absolutely.
Not many
And then
answers.
economically, what happens as far as equity markets? So maybe gold's going to be the trade, Ingrid.
Well, the question here is, before we get into the gold, UK, you talk about UK, negative interest rates. Seems to be the door is opening for them.
Absolutely. Could it be the same thing here?
Yeah.
So, I think that's very much, as far as the Boris theme, very much negative interest rates, going to be a continuation across Europe.
Across the globe, do you think?
Maybe. Who knows? I mean, it's uncharted. Again, we've never been through anything like this. This could be a 3 to 5 year play. Do we get a vaccine?
Do you see that as buoying equities in that particular sense?
I think stimulus to a point, Andrew, definitely. I think this is the first round, the 1.8 trillion. You'll have another go by February.
But this is the question, right? Because you're saying all this uncertainty, a lot of questions, no answers. So how do you play that as an investor?
You can't only be long. I mean, you've got to trade. If you're going to trade instruments, you've got to be very short. and be hedging, have numerous positions open. You've got to be looking at US dollar, where equities trade. If you're just a long trader and you're saying, oh, well, we're here for the next matter of years, then I think you've got your head in the sand. You need to be looking at short trades. You need to be looking at what's going on as far as I mentioned, derivatives, hedging, all of these mechanisms from a day trading perspective. Because if markets tank, they'll tank quickly. And what are you going to just hold a long position? That's crazy.
All right, and you're going to talk about gold, obviously.
1905, 1906, very choppy.
Yeah.
I think there's potential there. US dollar's currently at 93.72. You could see that build over the next week or two due to Trump and leading up to the election. So we might still get over that 94 handle as far as US dollar index.
And oil, because you always talk
choppy. Ingrid, it's 40 to 43 bucks a barrel.
Yeah.
You've got Libya back online now. You've got OPEC plus. It's really coming down to a demand picture and what happens as far as Europe and those numbers leading into COVID. I think it could be an unsettling period ahead for the crude producers.
Peter, great to get your view this morning. Peter McGuire, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.